Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
And we are live. I don't know if it's loud. We are live from New Rochelle at Iona University. We're back for the special week, special Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and we're here to talk ball talk. But I just want to first get started by saying it's been a lovely journey to where we are right now. School year is almost over, so that means this show is gonna be delayed till next August, September, probably. So we only got so many shows left, and now this is time for this is the best part of the NBA season's playoff time. So it's actually good, kind of good that we end off with the playoffs, and then next season we get to talk about whatever happens. Maybe we have to pivot a little bit because the start of this, September is not really much topics about the NBA, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So I just want to also thank everyone for whoever's watching. I appreciate it. I always will. Thank you. If you want to keep watching, keep doing that. Maybe leave a like on the video. But that's up to you. So today is special day. It's the start of basically the start of the playoffs. The two, 7, 8 seeds play for the spot for the 7th seed in the NBA playoffs. We have the Hawks Magic today at 7:30, and then we got the Warriors and the Grizzlies, which is a good one. I will be tuning into that. The Hawks Magic is more of a we don't care. It's not like we don't care. They're 2 good teams for their standard, to be honest. The Magic coming off of heavy injuries, heavily injured season. Their 2 best players missing majority of time. Their offseason additions not really being what they want them to be, but they still have maintained their identity of defense, which they are still amongst the top 5 teams in defense despite having injuries, which is their identity. They just need to translate that to more playoff basketball, which is it's tough to do because if they win tonight, they got to play the Celtics, and if they lose, then win in AC, they got to play the Cavs. It's kind of like a lose lose, but this could be a good experience for the Magic. Not as much the Hawks because the Hawks are more of they're just there. They're playing. They're playing team. They're always going to be in the play-in, and it's just a Trey Young and friends kind of. Their second best player, Jalen Johnson's out for the season. He won't be playing. They had a good season in terms of what they were dealt with. Their number one overall pick. He developed well during the season throughout the season. They finally figured out that Onyeka Kongwu is the starting center instead of Clint Capella. They kind of just held him off to the bench. Dyson Daniels had a defensive player caliber season, so it was good. I doubt it's going to lead to playoff success. They're probably not going to win this game tonight, but anything can happen in the play-in. It's a one game thing. They could win by 30. They can lose by 30. They can have a close game. I'm hoping more for a close game so I can actually be entertained. But good basketball is good basketball. I just hope it's a good game. And my predictions, I personally think the Magic are just gonna. I think they're just gonna dominate defensively. And just whenever Trey doesn't have the ball, it's gonna be it's questionable what's gonna happen. But whatever happens, pray for good basketball. And in terms of them, whoever wins playing the Celtics, I mean, regardless, I think we all know what would happen if they play the Celtics. The reigning champions, they clearly have the formula to win a championship again. And it's just like unfortunate that you fell this bad. You fell this down to you gotta play the Celtics. Magic are 41, they're 41 and 41. They're exactly 500, and the Hawks are 40 and 42. So it's like we just gotta deal with it and hope that they get through it. But besides that, let's get to the more important game, the game with actual stakes and really interest. The Warriors versus the Grizzlies. They are playing in San Francisco at the Chase Center, so it might be a little rocky for the Grizzlies, especially with their injuries to Jalen Wells and I don't know who else is injured. I'm just talking. But it's gonna be a good game. John Moran to play in versus the Warriors. I seen a thing. It's like the 4 games John Moran has played against the Warriors, whether the play in or the playoffs. He's had a good game. Is he there to continue the streak? We don't know. I just hope we have good basketball and maybe see an upset. The Grizzlies winning would definitely be an upset, as the Warriors are they're touted as the team with the experience that could win any series because they have Steph Curry, they have Draymond, they have Jimmy Butler. They have the winning history. It was just nice to see good basketball. I personally think the Warriors will win this. I just don't think they have an answer for what the Warriors will throw out, especially with Jimmy Butler if healthy. Because at the end of the game against the Clippers, we did see that he kind of hobbled knees or he bumped knees with Kawhi, the robot, and it didn't look too good. But he is active. He will play. He will most likely play all of 48 minutes or all 43, 45, however much it is. He was and against the Clippers, he really showed he was in playoff mode. He really turned it on in that first half, and even the second half, he had Jimmy Butler is I don't know if it's underrated because I think a lot of people know, but he is one of the best foul drawers in the entire league, if not up there. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely better, but he's up there. His ability to just like finish through contact and just take it and understand what the guy is and hunt the mismatch who the weaker defender who really doesn't know how to maintain and not foul when defend or contesting. It's just a skill he's always had, even in Miami. And now he's here with Golden State. A known like not good foul drawing team. They're more of a settle for three, cut to the basket type team. So it's good to have these two, him and Pods. Him and Pods are I don't know if he's a great foul baiter, but he's not as like settle for the shot type of player. It's what you need in the playoffs because if you settle for shots and they don't go in, eventually you just gotta the other team's gonna get the calls and it's just gonna the mismatch is gonna hurt you more than it helps you. So I think that having Jimmy Butler from the start, he was always gonna be a good pairing because he's a cutter, he's a good or foul drawer. He can turn it on when he needs to. He's a I don't know at this age. I really haven't watched enough Warriors game to tell if he's that great of a defender, but I from the past he is good at anticipating moves and drawing not or playing the passing lanes and finding the right way to get a steal or get a turnover. It's just it's just how they use it. I think the Warriors defense is not to be questioned. It's more of their offense, as we've seen last game against the Clippers, which is ultimately a playoff game. It was basically whoever wins makes it guaranteed to the playoffs, and the other has to play to the play-in. The Clippers really showed that you put a double on Curry, and it's really like we gotta trust everyone else because even when they had the ones with Curry where it was just like run through the screen, and then it was all this Curry ISO, he was cooking. But once they doubled him, that one possession where they doubled him with Zubac and they got the turnover, and then they got a bucket down. And then the last play where they clearly the whole intention was to double Curry and they ran a play for Buddy Hield. I don't know. I think they just knew Curry was gonna get doubled and get all the attention, so they ran the play for Buddy Hield. But that's what you gotta live with. You gotta live with the others making shots. And that's what, in my opinion, that's why they won't win a championship this year. It's not because of Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry still has what it takes to be the one on a championship team. And even Jimmy Butler as a two. That's two definitely winnable. That's definitely a winnable organization or a core. It's just everyone else is hit or miss. Draymond missed a layup, game tying layup because he thought he can draw a foul. He tried to draw the foul, no foul was called, and he missed a layup. Curry missed a layup too. Paz missed a layup. It was a whole bunch of missed like gimme shots. It just depends on how they turn it on. I know they have the core and the energy to not the core, the foundation to win a championship. They've done it before many times. I just wonder how it'll work. And that's why I personally think they'll beat the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies haven't been as I mean, they have John Moran has been playing a lot better since the firing of Taylor Jenkins. Taylor Jenkins. Their defense is still gonna be there. It's just how they decide to play, or how not how they decide to play, it's how their others will impact the game. We know that John Morant's a known Warriors killer. I wonder how that will translate to this game. The Warriors defense is better than past in the past. I just it's gonna be a real interesting game. I can't wait to watch. I hope it is entertaining like the other past playing games. The Warriors are cursed. They have never won a playing game, so maybe that's I doubt it will continue on to this year because regardless if they lose against the Grizzlies today, we can get into the other playing games. We can start off with the Mavericks and the Kings. It's really just a pity fest on who wants to lose to the eighth, whoever wins eighth seed. I genuinely think this game has no stakes. The Mavericks win or the Kings win, they go on to play the Grizzlies or the Warriors. Whoever they play, I just see there's a big talent gap, a big like team gap in terms of roster and functionality, and it's not going to look good in my opinion at all. The Mavericks, they have the foundation. They just everyone the guy that they need that I would see a reason that they could go on a run. He's not there. Kyrie's not there. You have AD, but AD a game for your life with no ball handler and you're really just the main defensive scheme. I don't see even if we pull it out against the Kings because the Kings aren't that good. But even if we don't, I really wouldn't care because like, what are we gonna do if we do win that game? We're gonna go against the Grizzlies or Warriors. God forbid it's the Warriors. The Warriors we might get spanked by 20. Or if it's the Grizzlies are still gonna spank us. It comes down to what happens next season. I figured this out 2 years ago against when in 2023 when the Mavs trade for Kyrie and they had a chance to make the play-in. I was for tanking and losing games so you can keep your pick and, like, making the play-in wouldn't do anything. You probably wouldn't have won it anyway, and even if you did, you make it out, you play the 1st seed, what's what happens? You lose? Well, I mean, you lose in the 1st round, you get a worse pick. The Mavericks, it all comes down to what happens next season. Kyrie has to come back. You gotta make good for free agency moves. This is the Mavericks podcast if you don't know, so we gotta talk about them. We just the weirdest thing happened today where Nico Harrison had to host a press conference with no cameras or no voice recordings. And he like tripled down on the trade, saying that he felt like he made the right move. Defense wins championships, all this. So you better this offseason, you better show us that defense wins championships. You better get some of the best defensive additions in the world. I don't want to see anything less. I want us to be the next year. And if I don't see that, I'm rioting. And I think a lot of people will riot. Let alone if the Lakers do something in this playoffs, which we will get into later on where we'll talk about that series. It's gonna be a great series. I can't wait to watch that one too. But since we have the other playing game, Heat Bulls, this is like another NBA TV game. I mean, no disrespect. These two teams have young talent. They will be good in the future if they maintain their core, especially the Bulls. But right now, it comes down to whoever wins this game. If it's good basketball, we will enjoy good basketball, as who doesn't? But what in terms of outcomes of the entirety of the game or the series, you win this game. Say you do beat the Hawks or the Magic, whoever loses that game. What happens? You play the 1 seed Cavs and you lose in 4. I just think these 9 and 10 seeds, if not in the West, like last year, which was different because the Kings still had a competent record, even though they did beat the Warriors and they went in and lost to the Pelicans. It just felt more of a they had a chance versus like now where these 2 9 10 teams for both conferences, it feel like they have no chance since the West was so stacked and the East is so top heavy. The West is stacked because no matter if you do win, the eighth seed was like on pace for 50 wins. They were 2 games away from winning 50 games. And in the East, you could be the Bulls and you win, and then who do you play? Who do you get rewarded for? The Hawks, Magic, Heat, and Bulls. What do they get rewarded for winning these playing games? They play the 2 60-win teams in the East, and they most likely lose. And it's just you tanked your draft stock. I think you just go into the draft class if I'm one of these GMs, which we also get into that these owners are greedy and need to understand that winning now is not always the best thing. That you're tanking your draft stock for what? For more money for one game, for more fan interaction for one game. If you're the Heat general manager, who cares if you win this game? If you're the Bulls really don't care either because they were bottom and they started turning on toward the end of the year and they fought their way into the play-in. I mean, and good for them. They make more money. The fan interaction has always been there, especially for Chicago. But now you go into next year with the worst pick. I don't know if it'll be lottery. I'm not 100% sure. But maybe sometimes not winning is better, especially knowing your situation and kind of reading the room. I mean, some of these teams couldn't. The Mavericks were so good and they just fell off that they couldn't fall out of playing contention since they were so good at the start and they just kind of fell off with the injuries. It's just next year I got man, next year it really comes down to like what they do because this trade is already looking really bad and it's only been a couple months. I couldn't imagine a year, especially with more we get to see more things happen in the playoffs. And I mean, I think we're in for a great playoffs. It's gonna be fun, interesting. I personally think. Oh, I forgot to give my predictions. I think the Hawks lose to the Magic today. Magic are the 7th seed, and then I think the Hawks beat the Bulls because I think the Bulls will win this one. And I think the Grizz or the Warriors will win today, and then the Mavericks will win, which is no bias because I just think they're just better. And then the Grizzlies will beat the Mavericks, and then the it'd be like the same order as now, pretty much. It's just the same order now, just no playing game. But that's my personal opinion. We never know anything can happen. We'll come back, update thing next week. So we can go into player predictions now. We can start with the play-in teams. The Thunder versus the Grizzlies. If this happens, it might be bad for the Grizzlies. It might be Thunder in 4. I think the Thunder are just too good defensively, too good offensively. They have the best player on the court. They will have the home court advantage. They have a great home court or home crowd. I just think they get punched in the mouth. The Grizzlies way too fast with no reaction, and I think it's just 4 games. I genuinely don't think the Grizzlies will get a game. Like despite John Morant's ability to take over a game, I just don't think I'll see it. But that's personally me. Peak, they can go 5 games, but I just don't see it going past 5. And if the Thunder were to play the Warriors, though, that would be a good series. That would be a closer series. I definitely think that would be a 6-7 game series. Just in case, like, if okay, so let's go through all the options. If Thunder played the Mavericks, Thunder would sweep. The Thunder played the Kings, the Thunder would sweep. The Thunder played the Grizzlies, the Thunder in 5, if not 4. And if the Thunder played the Warriors, I think it would go 6. Not because I think the Warriors aren't good. I think that the Thunder are just too talented despite the experience. The Warriors definitely would have the experience. They have Curry, they have Draymond, they have the winning culture, they have the coaches, they have Jimmy Butler. I just think once the Thunder will scheme against the worser players on the court, and when they are dared to make a shot, what will happen? We never and probably won't end up well, especially when the Thunder could put every player on the Thunder every player on the court for the Thunder, if played like in the regular season, could definitely hit a shot and definitely should not be dared to beat you. There's players on teams that you should dare to beat you. The Thunder, in my opinion, I don't think they have that as of right now. Anything could change in the playoffs. The same thing happened last year. They didn't have that, and then J Dub became that one player, and he didn't perform too well. Lou Dort became that player. They had Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey was definitely that player. But it's just I think the Warriors could definitely get games because they have Steph Curry, and his presence could definitely get you some games. I don't think he'll get swept. I just think the Thunder are too talented to lose to the Warriors, especially now. It'd be a good series, though. I think it'd be close games. And it'd definitely be a question mark to the Thunders thinking, like, how are you going this? How are these games so close? I just think every team in the West, besides the Grizzlies, but I could be proven wrong about the Grizzlies, but I think every team besides the Grizzlies has a chance to do something, in my opinion. And now we go into Houston versus 7 or 8. In my opinion, if they play the Warriors, it might be tough. Because like I said with the Thunder, they are talented defensively. They have the unit defensively. They have the offensive capabilities, but they are also very young. This is their first time ever making the playoffs as a team, as a unit. They have some guys that are experienced, but their main guys like Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, Sengun, they have no playoff experience. They got Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks, who have had competent enough experience to really get through it. I just don't think that would help them if they played against a team like the Warriors. I think if they played the Warriors, it would be one of those series where it's very entertaining to watch defensively. There's going to be big moments offensively. There's going to be some stops. There's going to be some like really buzzer beater, like to the nail or nail biter finishes. I just think a team that has no experience, let alone doesn't have a tier one player, versus a team that does have experience and does have a tier one player, I think it wouldn't go for good for the Rockets. I think the Warriors would win that one in 6. And I think it'd be a close 6. It wouldn't be like a blowout 6 like everyone's expecting. Because the Warriors, if they go into that series, would be the heavy favorites because they're the Warriors and they have Steph Curry. But I think people are underestimating the Rockets just because they're young and they don't have the 1A guy. I just think their unit is too talented and they will be good for the future, the foreseeable future, which is good to see. It's their first year. Everyone has to go through it. And if they played the Grizzlies, though, I think the Rockets would win 5 or 6. I think the Rockets are just too good defensively for the Grizzlies to just out experience them. With too much more, they're way more talented than the Grizzlies are, in my opinion. And I just think they're well coached too. That doesn't because they are well coached. That doesn't take away the fact that that's why I think they're better than what people will think they are. And I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Warriors or beat the Grizzlies. I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're that good of a team. It's hard to say that when it's you lack experience. But that's what we'll see in the playoffs. We'll see how good these series are, how good these games are, how good they can compete, how well coached they are, how well they can adjust to whether it's the Warriors or the Grizzlies, whoever it is. I think regardless, we will see good Houston Rockets basketball. It depends how we will talk about them for the future. Now, I think this might be the most anticipated series, the Lakers versus the Timberwolves. You got Luka and LeBron and Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, that defensive unit. It's gonna be a series. I think besides like the means like Lakers in 5, I think it will be a 6-game series, 6-7 game series. It's one of those closer series. I think people are just looking at the fact that last year Luka was on the Mavericks and they torched the Timberwolves. It wasn't torched. They were all really close games, but when it really came down to it and the clutch came out, Luka and Kyrie came out and just showed why they were the superior team. And now they just see that. They see LeBron. They see it's the Lakers, and they think, oh, Lakers in 5, Lakers in 4. I thought the same thing too, until you really dive deep into it and really look at it. The Timberwolves are a great defensive unit. They have the matchups to guard the Lakers. They have the size. The Lakers don't have what the Mavericks had last year in terms of size. They don't have the guys to guard who they were and did do the things that they did in terms of the short roll, the pick and roll, the rim protection. They don't have that. I think it will be a close game, close 6-7 game series. I would not actually be surprised if the Timberwolves won that. Anthony Edwards could really come out and show why he's one of the better players in the league. It just comes down to the fact that I think Luka is hard to stop in the playoffs. He's a hard guy to stop in the playoffs, with no injury. He kills a scheme, he kills your defensive scheme, and it's hard to just throw things at him because he will always make the right play and make the right read. Let alone the fact that you got LeBron next to him, playoff riser, Austin Reeves, playoff riser. You got the shooting around him in terms of floor spacing. This is basically what the Mavericks were in 2022. Just you have instead of Brunson, you have Austin Reeves. Instead of Dinwiddie, you have LeBron. Because I'm thinking about it, like in 2022, the Mavericks made the conference finals with Dwight Powell as starting center, but he never finished games. It was always the small ball lineup of Brunson, Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, or Max Kleber, one of the three, and Luca. If not, just the Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, Max Kleber. The small ball space the floor, let Luca work, let Brunson be the guy to be the second ball handler who can take the load off of Luca. The Lakers have that to a T, basically, just with a more reinforced roster and a coach who understands what he has and who they compete defensively with. Can they compete with the Timberwolves defensively? Will that size with Naz Reid and Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert really like attack them? It definitely will be a game plan. It might be hard for them to stop. We'll see how it works in terms of how they play with Rudy Gobert, knowing the fact that has to guard Luca in the pick and roll. They have to. There will be those corner sitters who will be there. Dorian Finney-Smith will be there. Rui, who's a big. He's not big. He's big enough to punish you. Mike Conley might have to. I said this last year. Mike Conley should not have been playing, but he was, and it wasn't pretty. So now the fact that you got three guys who can really attack him, there's really no one for him to guard, and he's older. He might have to. He really can't play in this series. It's just gonna be how do the Timberwolves, how well do they guard the Lakers? Which is why I think it's a close 6-7 game series. They got Dante, they got Nikhil Alexander Walker, they got Anthony Edwards, they got perimeter defenders, they got Jaden McDaniels to throw at these superstars basically. Which is why everyone, in my opinion, this is just like what the Lakers or the Mavericks had to deal with last year. The Timberwolves on paper, it looked like it was going to be problems. They matched up really well, and if you look at it now, the Timberwolves match up really well with the Lakers in terms of size, in terms of guys who can guard each other, in terms of the fact that they just got the bigger team. It just comes down to how these schemes work and how JJ Redick decides to enforce his offense around stop or attacking the Timberwolves, bigs and in space. And it's gonna be it's tough to choose. I'm saying 6 Lakers and 6 because I just don't think beating Luca is the easiest thing to do. I mean, we can see some things happen. It's the first round. Anything can happen. I think this is one of the better series to see in the first round, in my opinion. Uh, this will definitely be up there for playoff. I look at all these playoff matchups or potential playoff matchups, and I don't see a bad one. I really don't see a bad series besides the East. But the East is different because it's not even just it's just the top 2 seeds that I just think are bad. But everything else, I think there could be good series. Besides like Grizzlies, OKC. But like that's maybe I just don't know ball on the Grizzlies. And I'll have to be proven wrong, but I just think the Thunder are that good. And besides that, I just see a good series in every series. On to the next one. Denver, the Clippers versus the Clippers. From what I see from the Clippers throughout the whole season, throughout when Kawhi has been back, throughout that last regular season game where it was ultimately a playoff game, and seeing how they play, seeing that they have good defenders on the bench to come in and play. They have the the renaissance of James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, which I think that might be one of the bigger surprises of the year. That James Harden is just he's back. His first step is back. His ability to draw fouls is back. His playmaking has always been there. His ability to score is better than it has been the last 2-3 years. I think he realized that he's throughout the whole season, the start of the season, he was the guy who had to really lead this offense. Him and Zubac. Zubac has been on a different level this year. I think that's most improved player, like a candidate for sure. He's been a great defender. He's been great on the boards. He's killing the offensive glass, and like his ability to finish around the rim is up there with one of the better bigs in the leagues. I think this team who has Norman Powell's resurgence from role player to guy who can put the ball on the floor and score. I think this team will be dangerous. They got the defenders, Chris Dunn, All NBA defender caliber, Derrick Jones Jr., I can't say Ben Simmons, Kawhi Leonard, Ben Simmons, Zubac. You got guys who can come in, who can guard. I mean, Bogdanovich off the bench, the Serbian shooter off the bench. It's just you got offense, you got defense, you got elite level playmaking with James Harden. You got some of the best ISO scoring of all time with Harden and Kawhi. Guys who can really get a bucket at any time. That's really what they showed last game, like the playoff game. They're on a 8-game win streak to end the season. This team is dangerous. They got the coaches, the coaching staff to do it. Tyronn Lue, Jeff Van Gundy, who has been basically the defensive coordinator, and the reason they've been a top 3 defense throughout the entirety of the season is it's gonna be a hard team to beat in the playoffs in a 7-game series. It's a good thing they're going against the Nuggets though. The Nuggets who really had a questionable start to the season. They started off strong. Jokic was going crazy. They had their stretch of where they looked like they were going to be a comfortable 2 seed. And then towards the end of the year, the flaws really came out in terms of their defensive side of the ball came out and showed. Russell Westbrook came out and he had his moments, but he also had his good moments like Russ does. His playoff moments is what we're bound to see if it's still there or not. But we'll see how it works. They just haven't been healthy this whole year, and we'll just see how that works. If that's the reason that they just kind of went on a skid. They fired the coach, like we all know. They started at the end of the season off strong, though. They come in, they play. They have a tough Clippers matchup. They have a tough defensive Clippers team to play. Jokic has been at a all-time great level right now. I wonder how that will look against the Clippers defense. Um, it all comes down to not even Jokic. It comes down to others. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Russ, Christian Brown, Jalen Pickett, Zeke Naji, Payne Watson. These guys have to, Julian Strawther, these guys have to really be the ones that win the series for the Nuggets. It can't be just Jokic because I think that's what they will go into the series playing. I think it's going to be let others beat us. I think that's just been the formula for the Nuggets this whole season. Just let others beat us. And I wonder how that will look for 4 games or 7 games. I think this will be another great close series. I wonder how well the Nuggets coach can scheme against the Clippers, knowing that he is brand new. I know he's not like a scrub or anything. He's been on the team or the roster the whole season. He knows the schemes. He knows the how others. He knows the tendencies. He knows the other plays. He knows scouting reports. But this might be his first playoff scouting report ever, and he has to lead that as a coaching staff. He's the head coach. He has to lead that. He has to get his guys to understand what he has to go through or this team has to do to win. I think that might be ultimately the reason I picked the Clippers to win this. I'm also going to go Clippers in 6. I think the Clippers can turn it on and they could really just show their defensive superiority to the Nuggets, knowing the Nuggets have been a god-awful defense. And this is where I'm going to go into where the ownership needs to be taking more accountability for the team's faults. Because with the Nuggets, with the Grizzlies, now with the Suns, especially with the Mavericks, these organizations, these owners, they expect way too much out of what their roster is because they want to win now. The Nuggets fired their head coach because there was a roster issue created by the GM, Calvin Booth, who was also fired, which is a reasonable fire in my opinion. Apparently, I saw the source that they never liked each other, Calvin Booth and Mike Malone. And Michael Malone was actually supposed to be fired in 2023, but he won a championship, so it kind of just extended his stay. And then the next year they were basically the 1 seed, so it also extended his stay, but they lost in Game 7. And you can't fire him after that. So it's been a long time coming. Calvin Booth has not put a good defensive roster around Jokic. He's also let other players go who shouldn't have really gone. He put his chips all into the basket of young players when it's like, yes, it makes sense that you want to stay young, but you also have a top 5 offensive talent of all time on your team roster right now who's playing like it, you need to maximize this window. And it's just looking like this window's closing real soon. There's not much left of how long we have to see this peak Jokic. We don't know how long we have left to peak Jokic. So it's good to take. It's bad that he just didn't maximize it as like when he could. And it's just the Suns. Same thing with the Suns. The Suns have had 3 head coaches in the last 3 years. That is not a coaching problem. At this point, it's not a coaching problem. It is a roster problem. It is paying Bradley Beal $50 million to suck and have the biggest ego in the world. Oh my god, the quote of Bradley Beal saying he felt he had a problem with Coach Bud because he wanted to play like Drew Holiday. I knew this from the start in 2020 when Bradley Beal was crying on the bench because his team was losing. He's putting up numbers, his team was losing, he's pouting on the bench, and he made sure everyone see that he was pouting on the bench. He made it known that he was upset just for him to re-sign with the Wizards for more money, get this no trade clause, and then eventually when you get injured and you play your way out and you aren't good enough, you get hurt, your team's not good enough, and now you want out, you go to the Suns, and you're the clear reason your team sucks because you're getting paid so much money when KD and Booker can really, besides Bradley Beal, if you put a competent roster on that is going to be a good team. But they couldn't do that because all their salary is taken by the 3 players. Bradley Beal his ego doesn't let him be compared to Drew Holiday, who is a defensive player who can play make and do all this stuff. He's a winning player. Bradley Beal is not a winning player. He's a loser. Bradley Beal's a loser. He stayed in Washington all these years to make money. He wanted the stats. He loved being the scorer. He loved being all this. He didn't care about winning. Winning is not his main priority. His main priority is being Bradley Beal and being an all-star and being all this. But he's older now and he's not that. So when you're not that and you still have the ego like you're that type of person, it's not good for you. You're not going to be a winner. You're never going to be a winner. You're going to be stuck in Phoenix for the rest of your career. You're going to be dying down. You're going to make all your money. Congratulations, you're a thief. But like you're not going to win anything because you're not a winning player, which is some players don't deserve to win. You're not a winning player. You're not willing to sacrifice your role on the team to play a better role that can help you win. That's on you. That's the type of player you are. That's the type of player you are. As long as you let us know that that's the type of player you are. Don't lie and be like, my main priority is winning. We don't believe you. We never will believe you. But after that, I just think ownership fired the coach because they couldn't build a competent roster around or build a competent roster for the Suns. They had no defense capability. The players that they got to be the helpers or for the offensive helpers or defensive helpers, they didn't do anything. They had terrible big man play throughout the whole season. They benched their Tyus Jones signing, who is definitely gone this year. Kevin Durant's gone this year. It's just gonna be a rough offseason. Maybe Devin Booker's gone this year. We don't know. A fire sale on Phoenix is about to happen. But it's also you can't really blame the coach for that. That's on the front office for not putting a proper team around him. I just have to go into that because I just remember Bradley Beal and it kind of pissed me off. But hey, let's go into the Eastern Conference playoff predictions. Like I said before, Cleveland versus any of the playing teams. If it's the Magic, I'll say Cleveland in 5. If it's the Hawks or anyone else, Cleveland's going to sweep. I just think the Cavs are too good. They're too big. They're too versatile. Like they're too good offensively to do anything or to be stopped by anything. If Evan Mobley shows out, it's going to be dangerous for the playoffs. And the Celtics versus literally any of the playing teams. Celtics in 4. I don't think any of them can do anything offensively with the Celtics. They can't bang with them. Defensively, the Celtics are gonna get stops. They're deep, so they're gonna have guys off the bench who are going to just might even outplay your starters. They can do that on any given night just because they're that deep. It's gonna be a problem to beat the Celtics. And then let's go to the actual real series where it's predictions and there's stuff to be talked about. We got the New York Knicks versus the Detroit Pistons. This is what everyone's saying is going to be like the fan favorite series of the year. And I can definitely see why. You got two gritty teams, the Pistons, who are the wonder, the Cinderella story of the year, went from the worst team in the league last year to in the playoffs. The rise of Kate Cunningham, the rise of their whole defensive unit, the grit, the Detroit persona of grit and grind, like the bad boy Pistons are back. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see them in a playoff series. It just sucks that they got to play against the Knicks, who the Knicks are. They look like they're matched up well to play the Pistons. Jalen Brunson's back. They got the wing defenders to put on Cade and whoever comes back, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway. They got all the defensive guys to match up, like one-on-one type players or one-on-one type defenders, point of attack defenders. OG Anunoby might play 48 minutes guarding Cade, which is what you want. You want your best defender guarding the best offensive player the whole night. You got Mikal Bridges to switch on to. Josh Hart's there. You're big. You got Karl Anthony Towns. You got Mitchell Robinson. Jalen he's going to prove he should playoff riser, known playoff riser. We'll see how that works. It's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be a really gritty series. I think the Pistons defense can definitely keep them in the game. Their ability to run, they're going to run through Cade offensively, and we'll see how that works because we've never seen Cade in the playoffs, so we can only assume the best. So I assume that he's going to be a playoff riser because his game it seems like it translates to the playoffs. It depends on everyone else, like their ability to make shots. Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway, they got to be able to make shots. Tobias Harris, known playoff dropper, needs to lock in and really show why they need him. He needs to be a scorer, at least a threat, at least to put pressure on the team. Asar Thompson, he's going to be guarding Jalen Brunson most likely. Asar Thompson, a generational defensive talent. We'll see how that works. His size, his length, his athleticism, guarding a smaller guard, his fast twitch is gonna be a sight to see. I can't wait to see that too. But if I'm being real, it's gonna be a great series. It's gonna be close, in my opinion. Knicks of 5. I just think when it comes down to it, the Pistons are young. The Pistons do have lack of experience in playoffs. Pistons also, I don't see how they can offensively when it gets down to clutch time, crunch time, or even like the fourth quarter and when they really need to get a stop, or I'm not gonna stop, but get a bucket. You give it to Cade, but I think it's gonna be different in terms of I think the Knicks are just offensively better, and I think they have a scheme. They could definitely drop a scheme to minimize the Pistons. I just think it'll be close 5 games. You know, there's always close. There's a close 5 games. There's a close 6. There's a blowout 6 games. It's just, I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be gritty. It's gonna come out of the wire, and I wouldn't be surprised the Pistons not only win, but make it closer than it should be, like a 7-game series, a 6-game series. But I also wouldn't be surprised the Pistons get swept or lose a 5. I can see both outcomes for both teams. I don't see the Knicks ever or getting blown out though. I can't see that. I can see the Knicks blowing out close series, or I can see the Pistons winning like by edging it out. But I genuinely think this will be a fan favorite series because it's just two teams who hustle and they play with time. They play with the heart and soul and the passion that their cities represent, which is what fans want. Now next series, final series to predict. This is gonna be the last topic of this show. Pacers versus the Bucks. Now, I'm seeing a lot of favoritism towards the Pacers because of their offense and because of the Bucks' previous year of this perception that Dame's not playing so that the Bucks aren't as good as they used to be, or Doc Rivers is the coach, is all that. Despite Doc Rivers being the coach, despite Dame not playing, which he might play in the playoffs. Despite all the injuries, I genuinely think Giannis is a one-of-one player. I think we've seen this the last couple games where Dame's been out. This stretch where Giannis has been dominating, like offensively, defensively. He's able to get his teammates involved. He's basically playing the like the LeBron role, kind of. It's a scary sight to see if you're the Pacers, especially when you lack the size to not size, but you definitely have the scheme, but you lack the size to really stop him. As it's been proved before, you guys play him 4 times a year. It's gonna be dangerous. I think Giannis can really show or really just remind everyone why he's been unanimously a top 5 player and even like a top 3 MVP candidate the last 3 years. It's really Giannis has been so good, like consistently so good without really much not improvement because he's always improved, but not much statistical improvement that we just forget who he is. I don't think people understand how good Giannis is. And I think we can tell by the fact that they're predicting the Pacers to win in 4 or 5. I can't see that. I see the Bucks team has been competent around him defensively to really or have a chance to win, a puncher's chance. I just think having the best player in a series by far gives you a bigger edge. And I don't know if it's a hot take, but I got Bucks in 6. I think, let alone if Dame comes back, because I'm pretty sure I remember this correctly. When Giannis did not play against the Pacers last year, but when Dame was playing, we saw the defensive liabilities on the Pacers. Yes, they're a different team this year. They've added players. They had Ben Mathurin is back. He's going to be healthy for the playoffs. Their whole team has just developed in terms of getting older and wiser. And Siakam has a full year under his belt with the Pacers. Ultimately, the same team. They play the same way with pace, with speed. That's what I think people see it and they think that it's just gonna be like a 5 game series. I just I think Giannis can really expose them defensively, and we can see a 6 game series. And I think the Bucks win that. However, I will say I can definitely see what people are saying in terms of the Bucks lose. Giannis, health wise, has not finished the playoffs in a long time, or has not been like fully healthy for the playoffs in a long time. He's going in fully healthy. I just think this version of Giannis is going to be scary for the Pacers to defend, and I just think I have the Bucks just winning that. The Pacers could definitely make some noise. I'm not saying they can't. I just think they got the wrong first draw matchup of the first round, having to play a Giannis, let alone if Dame comes back. But we'll just see how it goes. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope this is one of the better playoffs in a while, especially with how good the West turned out at the end, where it was the last week was every game mattered. Like how a Harrison Barnes game winner at the end of the year usually wouldn't matter, but that made the Warriors from a 6 seed to a 7 seed having to play in the plan, having to play from either the Lakers to now they have to play Houston and OKC. It all comes down to those little moments, and that's what makes the playing game so good. Shout out Adam Silver. Never, never change the playing or even the in-season tournament. Keep those competitive moments really matter to the fans. It's good basketball. We love good basketball. But now that we're done with the plan and the playoffs, the predictions, next week we'll come back. I guarantee there will be games. We can recap those. We can talk about further predictions. But honestly, I think I'm done here. I appreciate you guys for listening. If you're still here, leave a like on the video. Shout out to you if you're still watching. I hope you have a great day. It's a nice day outside. Maybe go outside, have a nice walk. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week with more of the One and Done Radio Show.